Jack Nicholson's life didn't just start like a movie, it started like the kind of twisted plot Hollywood would never dare to write. Imagine growing up your entire childhood believing your grandmother was your mother, and the young woman you called your sister was actually your real mom. That's not a rumor, that's Nicholson's truth. And he didn't. Hey, if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, don't forget to click subscribe. It's completely free. And this way you won't miss any of our next stories from the stars you grew up with. Find out until adulthood. Think about that for a second. Every birthday, every Christmas, every family dinner, it was all built on a secret so explosive it could have shattered anyone else. Jack only learned the truth when reporters dug into his background years later. The shock? Beyond belief. One of the greatest actors of our time had been living inside a real-life script of lies. Some say this revelation shaped the way Nicholson tapped into his characters, because he wasn't just acting out chaos on screen, he was born into it. That secret family twist didn't just scar him, it gave him an edge, a darkness, a depth that Hollywood had never seen before. And if his childhood was a storm, his path into Hollywood was even messier. Jack Nicholson didn't walk into Hollywood as a star. He wasn't the golden boy producers were fighting over. In fact, he started as a gopher at MGM's cartoon studio, fetching coffee, running errands, doing the kind of jobs most people never crawl out of. For years, he was stuck in low-budget B-movies that barely paid rent, films so cheap most people have forgotten they even exist. But here's the shocking part. Nicholson never quit. He studied every role, no matter how small. He soaked up every second of screen time like it was his shot at immortality. While other actors broke under rejection, Nicholson sharpened himself into something Hollywood couldn't ignore. And then, his break, Easy Rider, 1969. One role, one wild-eyed performance, and suddenly the struggling kid who once carried coffee on a studio lot was up for an Oscar. It wasn't just a career shift, it was the birth of a legend. Hollywood had a new rebel on its hands, and he was nothing like the safe stars they were used to. But if Nicholson thought his battles were over, he was dead wrong. Because what came next would make him a household name and a Hollywood danger. When Nicholson finally broke through, he didn't just act, he detonated. 5 Easy Pieces, 1970, showed audiences a man wrestling with emptiness and rage. It was raw, uncomfortable, and unforgettable. Suddenly, Jack wasn't just another actor, he was the face of rebellion, alienation, and everything America was afraid to admit. But the real explosion came in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. Jack, as Randall McMurphy, wasn't just a performance, it was a revolution. He went toe-to-toe with authority, tore down rules, and became the ultimate outlaw on screen. And the Academy? They had no choice but to give him his first Oscar. By the time the 80s hit, Nicholson was unstoppable. Then came The Shining. One look at his crazed smile, one swing of that axe, and audiences realized something terrifying. This wasn't acting. Jack Nicholson had madness in his blood. "Here's Johnny!" Wasn't just a line, it was a warning. And if that wasn't enough, he took the Joker in Batman, 1989, and turned him into the most dangerous, most mesmerizing villain comic book movies had ever seen. He wasn't playing a clown, he was playing chaos itself. Hollywood didn't just fear Nicholson, they worshipped him. But while his characters were dominating the big screen, his personal life was spiraling into something even juicier. Nicholson's private life? Pure Hollywood scandal. He married once, to actress Sandra Knight in the 60s, but that was short-lived. After their split, Nicholson never said "I do" again. Instead, his name became linked to some of the most glamorous and explosive relationships in the industry. There was actress Susan Anspach, who later claimed Nicholson fathered her son. Jack never publicly confirmed it, and the mystery only fueled the fire. Then came Angelica Houston. Their relationship lasted nearly 2 decades, filled with passion, fights, and tabloid headlines. She once called him magnetic, unpredictable, and impossible to control. It was Hollywood's most dramatic love story, until it shattered under the weight of Nicholson's endless affairs. And there were more. Danish model Winnie Hallman gave birth to his daughter Honey. Later, Rebecca Broussard entered his life, giving Nicholson 2 more children, Lorraine and Raymond, before that relationship too came crashing down. By the 90s, he was linked to Laura Flynn Boyle, decades younger, adding fuel to his reputation as Hollywood's ultimate playboy. While critics whispered about chaos, Nicholson insisted on one thing: his kids came first, and in rare public moments you'd see him, Hollywood's ultimate bad boy, softening into a devoted father. For decades, Jack Nicholson was Hollywood's wild card, the rebel, the madman, the untouchable star who didn't play by the rules. But even Jack had someone who could truly disarm him, Robin Williams. To Nicholson, Robin wasn't just another comedian. He was lightning trapped in human form. When Robin walked into a room, you never knew what was about to happen, but you knew it would leave you gasping for air. One second, he'd have the room in tears of laughter. The next, he'd hit you with a moment of piercing honesty that felt almost too real. Jack admitted something the public rarely saw. Robin carried a deep sensitivity beneath the jokes. People thought he was pure energy, pure comedy. But Jack saw the other side, someone who felt everything so deeply it was almost unbearable. A man who laughed louder because he carried heavier pain. And when these 2 Hollywood giants sat together, it wasn't just small talk. Nicholson remembered Robin's ability to look you straight in the eye and listen. In an industry built on ego and power games, Robin's gift was rare. He didn't care about the noise of Hollywood. He cared about people, and Jack never forgot it. But then came the moment that shook Nicholson and the world to its core. News broke. Robin Williams was gone. For Nicholson, it didn't feel real. He sat in silence, stunned, refusing to believe it. How could a man who lit up every room suddenly vanish? How could someone who gave so much life lose his own? Jack later admitted it felt like the world had gone dim, as if a light had been switched off and nothing could replace it. He said losing Robin was like watching joy itself disappear, and the truth he shared cut deep. Robin's greatest gift, his ability to feel everything and give everything, was also his greatest burden. Jack's voice cracked as he described it. "We think these people are larger than life," he said, "but they're human, just like us. And sometimes being human is the hardest thing." That confession didn't come from the Jack Nicholson audiences knew. It didn't come from the Joker or the axe-swinging madman in The Shining. It came from an old friend, heartbroken, stripped of all his walls, finally admitting how fragile even the brightest stars can be. And what Nicholson revealed next about Robin's legacy wasn't just emotional, it was unforgettable. At 88 years old, Jack Nicholson has nothing left to prove. He's collected Oscars, broken box office records, and lived a life of chaos, glamour, and scandal that could fill 10 biographies. But when he speaks of Robin Williams, the Hollywood rebel suddenly sounds vulnerable. Nicholson confessed that Robin had something most stars never did: a generosity of spirit. Robin gave everything, on stage, on screen, even in quiet moments, just sitting across the table from a friend. He didn't hold back. He poured himself out until there was nothing left. And that, Jack said, is what he'll carry forever. Not the fame, not the jokes everyone remembers, but the man, the friend, the one who could make you laugh until your stomach hurt, then look you in the eye and remind you that you mattered. Nicholson called him extraordinary, not funny, not famous, extraordinary. And coming from Jack Nicholson, a man who's seen it all, those words mean everything. But the truth hits even harder when you hear how Nicholson frames it today. Looking back, Jack Nicholson's life reads like a script packed with scandal, secrets, and unforgettable roles. But his final truth about Robin Williams, that's the story that cuts deepest. Because behind the flashing cameras and Hollywood gossip, there were two men, two legends, who understood each other in a way no headline could capture. One, a rebel with a wicked grin, the other a whirlwind of comedy hiding oceans of pain. Nicholson's confession at 88 isn't just about Robin. It's about all of us, about how even the brightest lights can burn out, about how laughter can hide sorrow, and about how true friendship can outlast fame. So when Jack Nicholson says Robin Williams was extraordinary, he isn't just honoring a friend, he's reminding the world to look closer, to see the human behind the legend, and to never forget that even in Hollywood, where everything feels larger than life, the most powerful truth is often the most human.